everyone, it's Allison. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have a really fun card today. We're going to be making this fun pop-up easel card using products from Poppystamps. I have two special guests with me for my voiceover today, so if you hear weird noises, blame the dogs. I usually try not to have them with me, but I had no choice today. One of them is kind of an attention hog. All right, let's look at the products. This is the Corner Shop pop-up easel, and wait until you see how this comes packaged. This is the main set we will be using. Now, first you'll notice the huge magnet sheet that these dies come on. And you'll also notice that all the dies are already cut apart for you. Now, there is tape on the back, which secures them even more during shipping, but you can just remove that tape and put everything on the magnet sheet. And of course, I love the colored finished image on the front that shows you how it all goes together. Let's take a look at the other products in this collection. I'll be using almost all of them today. These are the flower pot shelves. This is the birthday treats set. This is the wooden cart set. How cute is that? I love those little buckets. This is the birthday celebrations set. And the dessert stand, which definitely came in handy on my project. These are the flower and leaf sprinkles. And finally, this is the birthday banners stamp and die set. You'll see there are matching dies, and I will be using that. Now, all of these dies come as one piece, and I'll show you an example of that. So the great thing is you can cut it all out in one pass, and you don't need to worry about losing any of these tiny little dies if they were separate. For those who may be unfamiliar with what an easel card is, I'm going to show you the finished card first. And so the recipient can keep this on display. It's just a really special kind of card to make. Now, the largest die in the set cuts the actual base of the easel card, the actual mechanism. And you'll see it's a pretty big die. But these are the universal plates that now come standard with the Spellbinders Platinum 6, so it fits just fine. If your plates are shorter, you can still use the die, just do it in two passes. Now here you can see the die creates two score lines. And I used 110-pound paper, so it's pretty heavy. So I like to use my bone folder to make sure I'm getting straight folds here. And this little flap folds the opposite direction. So again, I'm using my bone folder just to make sure, because it's, again, pretty thick cardstock. And here are the other pieces from the main die set. This white piece, I'm going to call this the base, even though it's not the actual card base, but it's what everything else is going to go on. And this black piece is the main storefront, and here's the awning. There's two pieces. Now I did cut a third piece because I thought it would be cute to layer the white over the pink. And this little piece creates a sidewalk. Now this die creates pieces to decorate and frame the windows. You could have a cute little planter box under the window. But I really wanted a frame around my main window. And as luck would have it, this dessert stand set, look at that. That frame just fit perfectly around the window. Now, I don't know if that was by design or just by dumb luck, but I'll take the win. I really wanted a frame around my door as well. And the frame for the window, or this frame that I'm using, is the perfect width. But I can't really use that die for partial die cutting. So I cut a strip of white paper to be the exact same width as this pink piece. And then I found this rectangle die in my stash, roughly the same width as the inside part of that pink frame. So I am going to do partial die cutting here. So I showed you, was it my last video, partial die cutting? I do this all the time. I'm just making sure that that bottom part is not under my top plate. So you'll see it just did the partial cut. So here's the beginning of this frame for my door. And this piece is longer than I need it, so I just need to make sure that I get this die lined up with what I've already cut. And then I can just put the whole thing underneath my plate. Again, because it's long enough, So the fact that it cut out a continuous frame at the bottom, that part's going to be cut off. So I really just needed the exterior part of the frame, if you will. I'm adding 2 layers for this window frame because I wanted to stand out a little bit more. This is where all my little pastries are going to go. And for the door frame, I'm putting glue around the door just so I can be sure that I'm not gluing the door shut when I add my frame. And it really helps this black door stand out from the rest of the black storefront. Now here's my little awning, and again, I layered it just so the pink peeks through at the bottom. And here go the stripes all in one piece. When I saw this set, I just immediately envisioned this black and white storefront. I just think it's so precious. All right, I'm going to show you where I got all the pieces that I'm using. The cupcakes came from that first set. The cake and the candles come from this set. The shelves for the window come from the flower pot shelves set. And then I have some pastries from this set, these big round, I don't know what they are. Are they huge bonbons? I'm going to call them cakes. And then I used a little cake on top of this one as my third pastry. All right, for my sidewalk, I am going to blend a combination of weathered wood and pumice stone distress inks. So I'm coming in with the second color of pumice stone, and I'm not being totally careful because it's a sidewalk. You know, it doesn't have to be perfectly blended. But I do want to create some dimensions. So I'm adding tape to kind of delineate where the sidewalk goes vertical. And I'm using one of my shader brush 2 Plus from Waffle Flower because I can just get little lines swiping down, and then I can turn it and get right in between these little cracks or whatever stones on the sidewalk. And that's created by the die itself. It creates those indentations. And here I'm coming in with some pumice stone just to darken things up a little bit. And look at that dimension that I got from this sidewalk. I think it's so fun to be able to get this kind of detail. I just wanted to show you, I did cut everything out of white cardstock and colored it with my inks. And I'm using antique linen to get kind of a vanilla cake color. All right, now I want to add a little bit of light inside the shop just to show that it's open and ready for business. So I'm putting tape along the sides of this base panel because that is going to show. And so I don't want any yellow ink getting in those areas. And I'm not going to be very careful here. I'm just coming in with some yellow. I think this was scattered straw. And I want more color coming from the top as if, you know, the lights were on the ceiling. Now I'm going to turn the shop front over to attach these little shelves, and I want to try to get them evenly spaced, so I'm just eyeballing them. And I decided it would be easier just to glue one side of each of these shelves, and that way if I needed to make any adjustments, it would just be easier to do that. And then once I'm happy with the spacing, then I can just add glue on the other side. Now, all these finicky little things that I'm doing here are my choices. You know, I love die cutting and I love kind of creating my own designs. But certainly you can just die cut all the pieces from this main set and easily replicate the design on the front of the packaging because it is just an adorable design all on its own. Here I'm just trying to get my spacing right so that the sidewalk comes to the bottom of this white base, but I also want to make sure that it is right below my door. So now I'm making a mark with my pencil so that I know where to glue this black piece. And I'm being careful not to glue anything on the back of the door because the door kind of hangs open, which I think is a really fun aspect of this design. For the awning, I have put some thin foam squares at the bottom of the awning so that it stands out a bit, and then I'll put glue on the rest. And this will create a slight angled look. kind of like a real awning would have. So it's glued at the top and comes out a little bit at the bottom. And now I'm just gluing on my sidewalk. And this piece will eventually get glued to the easel base, but I'm still working on it flat. I just figured it would be easier. Now I'm starting to arrange my pastries, and I realize my cupcakes are a little too tall, so I'm just going to snip the bottom off a little bit. And I'm even going to tuck them under the window frame when I glue them down, because remember, theoretically, they're sitting on a shelf inside of the store. I don't want them sitting on top of the window frame. Now I'm just testing how my little table with the cake looks, and I realized that the candles are too long, so I'm going to snip the candles too. I had to kind of create another cake. And I put thin foam squares at the top of the cake because this is going to be straddling part of the table, which at this point is about 3 pieces of cardstock thick. And I put a little pink, I'm going to call it a tablecloth, on my little table. Now I wouldn't normally put an even number of candles on the cake, but this is for a little girl's 4th birthday. All right, time to assemble. I did think it would be easier to secure this part of the base while I was gluing, so I put some washi tape in there. And I'm coming in with my Gina K Connect glue because it stays wetter longer than my Barely Arts glue, and I just wanted some wiggle room to make sure this was on here perfectly even. Now let's test out the functionality. And now it does stay open on its own, but I knew that I wanted to put an inside sentiment in there. So, oh, and by the way, I almost forgot to put this cute little piece on. I happened to find it in a random spot on my desk. Now here's that cute little bucket that I had made with the wooden cart set, and I had intended on putting it in the little corner here, and I was going to have flowers from that little flower and leaf set. So here's what that would have looked like, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And I think the cat from the main set would have been really cute here, but I don't know, I chose to leave it empty and a little bit more clean looking. Now the main die creates a cutout for a mail slot on the door, as well as a little indentation for a doorknob. And I'm just going to cover the mail slot with my cute little sentiments here that I stamped off camera. And I also created a little door pull from the icing that's on those top little cakes. I just turned it vertical. I thought it looked like a cute little door pull. And here's me motioning how you would open the door because I'm weird. All right, now I'm just figuring out how high I want the easel to be propped open, and then I'll make a mark with my pencil for where to put this sentiment. And I did beef this sentiment up a little bit so that it will hold the easel open. And now you'll see that as soon as I take it out of the envelope, it does kind of pop up on its own. And there you go. How cute is this? I just had so much fun making this. I love all the little details. And by the way, on the back, I did end up putting a little square piece of pink cardstock with the sentiment for the little birthday girl. And all right, let's talk about the watermark that you see at the bottom of my images. I did just join the Poppystamps design team. Some of you may know that I used to design for Birch Press Design, which is a sister company to Poppystamps. And you might also know that their other sister company is Memory Box. They are all fabulous companies with really high quality products. And I'm excited to be starting with Poppy. This is my first project as part of the team. And I've always purchased products from them in the past. You may have seen the videos I made with their recent spring and winter collections. I will link to one of those at the end of this video. But again, I love their products. I think they're so whimsical and fun, and I'm excited to be starting on the team. And I'm really appreciative of the opportunity. And I'm also very appreciative of all of you. Thank you so much for joining me for another video today. I always am happy to have you here. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe. And I will have a list of all the supplies below, and also a link to the Poppystamps blog with all the details. All right, I will see you next time. Bye bye.